Golden State Media Concepts SciFi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the backdoors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts SciFi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Welcome to the GSMC SciFi Podcast with your favorite host, Ryan Holloway, brought to you by and on the GSMC Podcast Network to fulfill all of your podcasting needs. Okay, now I'm just going to say this one time. I'm probably going to say it twice. Okay, this episode is full of spoilers. I'm going to spoil Avengers for you. If you haven't seen Avengers Infinity War, you need to know right now, this is just, I don't even got to say spoiler alert because I think the title says review. So you should already know. If you're listening to this review prior to watching the movie, I appreciate you. I really do, because that must mean that you want to hear how I felt about it. I appreciate you sacrificing the surprise of the theater to hear me review the movie. That's awesome. Secondly, I'm also going to spoil Fear the Walking Dead for you. If you didn't see it on Sunday night, I'm going to spoil that for you as well. Something happened, and you probably don't want to know what happened. So this is your 35 seconds to basically not hear the spoilers. Are you ready? All right, you should be ready by now. So let me just say, I'm going to say I was not disappointed in this movie at all. I was not disappointed. However, you know how something happens and it's based on the ending? For example, I have a really good analogy for this. Pretty much anything in sports, anything. Whenever a coach makes a call or a player makes a shot or a quarterback makes a throw, it's all based on what happens as to whether or not that was brilliant, right? No one cares about whether or not the play made any sense. It's just what happens at the end. Probably once in a while, someone to say, you know what, that was a terrible shot, or that was every once in a while, but 99 times out of 100, that was brilliant because of the outcome. This is how I feel about the movie. Because, as you know, Thanos is coming for these stones. Thanos is I have to collect all the stone. And we knew this was kind of going to happen. But the way it ended was so outstanding that it made everything okay. If you saw this or if you haven't seen it, Thanos basically wins at the end of the movie. He wins, which I think is great. That's why I like Thor so much, because at the end of the last Thor movie, the bad guy won. Because we've been watching these superhero movies for so long, it gets to a point where it's the antagonist can't always lose. That can't always happen. I understand it's a movie, and I understand people are being born every day that haven't seen these movies. That's how things become profitable. But we're moving into an area where it just can't be so predictable. Everybody from the whole Marvel universe comes together to try to stop Thanos from getting all these stones. Now, at the end, they don't stop him from getting the stones. He collects all the stones. The way the movie ends is perfect. It is perfect because it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you anything. Basically, let me think. Have any of you seen Matrix Reloaded? Any of you guys saw Pirates of the Caribbean, I think number 2, or Kill Bill Volume 1? The way those movies ended, where it was like a cliffhanger, but not really a cliffhanger. More or less, not even a cliffhanger, more or less, stay tuned. I remember when I first saw Matrix Reloaded, and the guys land on the table, and the movie just ends. I'm like, wait, what? We gotta wait for another one? That's how I felt, and I love that. I love the way that happened. What happens, the movie opens up with Thanos, with Thor, and Loki. And it's interesting because at the end of Ragnarok, we see Thor fly off with his people. Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to fly off with our people and we'll just find somewhere else to go. Which was going to be kind of weird, right? Because Thor said they're going to go to Earth, and I was questioning that whole situation because I was like, wait, you're going to go to Earth and just see if they're going to be okay with all these all these, I don't know, Thorians being there? Are that what they're called? Asgardians. Asgardians, what they're called. I was like, I wonder how that's going to work. That was a minor plot in the Thor movie at the end, but it didn't bother me. I wasn't like, oh my God, what are they going to do when they get to Earth? I just wonder how Marvel was going to handle that. You know what they did? You know how Marvel handled it? They had Thanos kill half the people. Apparently, Thanos' whole hype is once he gets this Infinity Stone, once he has the Infinity Stone, he can control everything. And then he wants to go to each planet in each galaxy and kill half the people because he says there's not enough resources for everyone to survive. Wait. Let me get this straight. So you're telling me that you don't want to take over the galaxy and be the leader of the galaxy. You just want there to be half of the people. And then that way people have more resources. Word? I can get down with that. I mean, I don't want to be on the half of the people that die. I don't want to be on that half at all. But I'm saying he has a plot that's like for the greater good of people, which Marvel's really good at this. Similar to the thing when Iron Man and Captain America had a problem with surveillance, with all the surveillance. That was in Avengers Part 2. They had like a real life problem. Because it was too much surveillance. Captain America was like, yo, this isn't the American way. We can't spy on the citizens like this. And Iron Man was like, no, we have to use all the technology available. Then they beefed. You guys remember them beefing? That happened. They really beefed. And that was a great plot because some of us are down with surveillance and some of us aren't. Some of us want to rely on the government to like find out what's going on if it's not about us. And then some of us don't want the government in our emails. So that plot was also based on the Avengers, just loosely. A lot of these Marvel movies have like these political undertones, and that's how Thanos is. If you think about it, like we have a problem with the population, and certain people feel certain ways about certain things we should do about the population. I'm not gonna get into that because I don't want any of you guys to turn it off. But Thanos has this plan, like, you know what, we don't have enough resources, which might be true, right? And I find it interesting that. I think it's weird how the Earth, based on numbers, we're supposed to run out of resources. And it's an Earth problem. You're telling me that Thanos has been to all these other galaxies and everyone's having the same problem? Isn't that ironic? Like, we're thinking, oh, we should go to Mars because it's not populated. But lo and behold, Mars probably has these other weird things over. You know what? I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to nerd out on you guys about the universe. But here's the thing. When it came to these stones, they were all over the place. And since like 10 years ago when Marvel started popping, we remember like these random stones just being in certain places, right? Like we kind of remember them just being at like the end of movies and things like that. And they all do different things. One of them is a time stone. One of them is a power stone. One is a space stone. One's a reality stone. One is a mind stone. The mind stone gives you psychic powers and the ability to control other people's minds. Duh. The reality stone modifies the reality and shapes things around other people. The space stone allows you to teleport and travel to anywhere in the universe. The power stone increases strength and allows you to control like people's energy. And the time stone has total control over time, including temporary trips. Wow. So Thanos has all these stones. At the end of the movie, he gets all these stones into this gauntlet thing, and Marvel did this. It was directed great because he gets all the stones into this thing, and like the screen blinks, and then this glove he had, it's kind of like bends a little bit, and it was epic. It was a great, and I'm not gonna tell you like the ending, but that's basically how it ends. It was great. Also, as you know, they brought over Black Panther and they brought over Guardians of the Galaxy for this movie, which I'm gonna say it worked out pretty well. They did a pretty good job. In the beginning of the movie, Loki dies. Okay, he dies. Basically, Thanos crushes his head. Thanos also kills Gamora. For those of you that don't know who Gamora is, she's the Green Lady from Guardians of the Galaxy. And the way she dies is her plot of the whole Hold on. This is what I'm gonna do. I gotta take a break, because if I don't take a break, I'm gonna get too excited. I'm gonna miss the break. But just sit still, because this is only gonna get better. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't go looking for stones yet. I'll be back, and then you can go look for all the stones you want. Be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA Podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC SciFi Podcast with your favorite host, Ryan Holloway, brought to you by and presented on the GSMC Podcast Network to provide you with all of your podcasting needs. As I was saying before, Gamora is the beautiful green woman from Guardians of the Galaxy. Basically, turns out she's Thanos' daughter, or Thanos' stepdaughter, because basically Thanos went to her planet years ago, killed everyone there, then just basically took her and raised her as his own. What ends up happening was he basically kidnaps her from the Guardians of the Galaxy. And there's a part where they get to this place where he has to get this stone. He has to get this one other stone. I believe it's the soul stone. He's got to get one other stone. And the keeper of this stone is like, for you to get this stone, you have to give up something that you love for you to get this stone. And then Gamora starts laughing at him like, the universe finally told you no, there's nothing you love, so you can't give anything away. Ha ha, ha ha. And he starts crying. And she's like, why are you crying? I've never seen you cry. You're evil. Why are you crying? No one feels bad for you. Then the keeper of the stone is like, those tears aren't for him. Oh my God. And I saw this kind of coming like 7 seconds. You're like, oh my God, they're going to kill her. And then Thanos just grabs the Gamora and throws her off of a cliff. And she dies. She dies. Which when characters die, it's weird because how strong are they? Like, I've seen Gamora give people hands, like incredible world-class award-winning hands. Like Muhammad Ali's strength and boxing capabilities inside of Conor McGregor's body with LeBron James speed and I don't know, something else. So I've just seen her let people have it. So it's amazing that Thanos just threw her off of a cliff and then it was wrapped for her. I found that pretty interesting. So with that, he throws her off a cliff, and then so he does whatever he needs to do to get these stones, which I kind of found when I watch this lately. A lot of these movies, even primarily like the Thor Ragnarok, they have these metaphorical meanings about life. Like, so Thanos goes on this mission to get these stones because he wants to limit the population by half, period. That's his goal. That's his obsessive goal. Nothing's going to stop him from this goal. Not even his daughter. Right? Because if he didn't love her and threw her off the cliff, it wouldn't have mattered. But when they say I sacrifice something you love, he throws her off the cliff and she dies. He gets these stones. So he gets the stone, and that's like, I don't know, the fourth stone he gets. And it was just really heavy to me because it relates to a lot of things that we go through in life, where if you want something, wait. This is not an advertisement to murk your kids. This is not that. This isn't that. You're not a Marvel hero. You're not trying to get a stone and take over the universe. Don't take this that way. What I'm saying is that when you really want something, when that's the ultimate goal, nothing is going to stop you. Nothing at all. If you get a flat tire and it's raining, you just need to find a way to get to that job interview. I don't care. If you have to pay a bill or else everything's going to end, you got to find a way to sell everything in your house. If you have an audition somewhere in LA, you have to find a way to get to LA. I don't care if you got to ride the Greyhound for 9 days to be there 1 month early. That's just what you got to do. And nothing's going to stop you from this goal. When he gets all the jewels or whatnot inside of his hand, and it cracks, it goes black, then it shows Thanos talking to the little girl version of Gamora. And then Gamora's like, "It wasn't worth it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then as you go back, people start disappearing. So they start fading away. They turn into like pixels and they go away. So Peter Parker disappeared. He's like, "Yo, Mr. Stark, I don't feel well." Then he disappears. And a few other people disappear randomly. They vanish. And we sit all the way through these credits to get to the very end, to get to our, do they call this a cupcake, a strawberry? What do they call these things? A cherry? I don't know. They call this something. I think it's an Easter egg. Is this an Easter egg, or are the Easter eggs hidden in the movie? It makes sense if they were hidden in the movie, right? That doesn't matter. At the very end, we get Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, and his assistant. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. And they're in the truck, and they're driving, and then some car just spins out of control. And you're like, and it looks like people are going to get out with guns, but they go to the car and nobody's there. They look up to the sky, a plane crashed into a building. Oh, other cars are crashing. Why? Because people are disappearing. And then the woman disappears, and then Samuel L. Jackson starts disappearing, and then he reaches into his bag and pulls out his pager. He drops his pager, and there's a symbol of a Marvel character on his pager. I'm not going to tell you who. I'm going to leave something for the imagination. For those of you that were a little bit too lazy to go actually watch the movie, I'm going to just leave something to the imagination. You can Google it. What was on Samuel L. Jackson's pager? You can do that. That'd be fun for you. So these people start randomly disappearing, and my question is this: is everyone dead? Because one of my colleagues I went to go see this movie with, he was like, "Oh, everybody," he was like, "They all died." I'm like, are they dead? Or are they just in some type of like purgatory state? Like, are they actually dead? That really confused me. I don't know. They can't kill off Samuel L. Jackson and Peter Parker. That doesn't make any sense. You can't reboot Spider-Man again. You cannot. It's not possible. If you guys reboot Spider-Man again, we're going to have a problem. There's no way they could do that. Especially since they have this like 12-year-old playing him. Everything should be fine. That guy's going to look young for the next 10 years, as long as they need this to go on. So it should be fine. I mean, Tony Stark has been Iron Man for 10 years, and he looks about the same. Apparently, this is the 10th year that Marvel's been making. I mean, since Iron Man started, and they were like tying all this stuff together, which I'm going to say they did an outstanding job at. So everyone started disappearing. I don't know if they're dead. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know where to go with that. But I do know this. I genuinely loved the storyline of this movie because this is one of those things. It's like Walking Dead. Don't worry, I'm not getting to the Walking Dead spoiler yet. But it's like Walking Dead, where it's like Negan shows up and we get to know Negan, and it's like, who said Rick can run everything? That's how Thanos is. Thanos is like, who said you guys can have all the stones? And as the viewer, we fall into this tiffy. Can I say tiffy? Is that a word? We'll say tiffy. We fall in this tiffy of us being on the side of the protagonist because we chose the protagonist as our buddy, as the viewer. He's on our team, and we are always against the antagonist. But not me. Even when I was younger, and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers would always win. Like, they'd be somewhere, and then one of the villains would send this giant dinosaur with this giant robot, and the Power Rangers, they turn into other dinosaurs, and they win every time. It got so old. It really would get old. Like, they didn't even have they would have like a to be continued episode, but never anything where anything dope, never anything where anything awesome happened. So I've always, since I was younger, been like, do you always have to win? Can we make this interesting? So for Thanos to show up and say, yo, I don't like these stones being all over the place. I want all the stones, and I'm going to kill half the population. Then life can go on. He doesn't even want to rule the galaxy. He just wants to kill half the population so that resources will be okay. Really? Just like for the greater good in a way? Because before he had these stones and he hijacked Gamora's planet, he went to Gamora's planet and just killed half of her people, just killed half the green people, then he left. Because that's just what needed to happen. Which, don't get me wrong, that's incredibly satanic, and it's very psychopathic, and he's a sociopath. Because you can't just go to a planet and kill half the people and say, yeah, I'm doing this for the greater good. That's crazy. Genuinely, it's crazy. But But what if there was a situation where, a Walking Dead situation, where a zombie apocalypse broke out inside of a stadium? And we knew it was in the stadium. They locked the doors to the stadium. Like, we don't know what to do. This is a biohazard. Would they try to escort certain people out to find out who was bitten, and who wasn't bitten? Or would they just drop a bomb on the stadium? Let's be honest. In real life. Like, I know it's really hard for you to imagine the Walking Dead situation in real life, but I'm just saying, if a Walking Dead situation broke out at a college, would they really try to sort and find out who was bit and who wasn't bit? No, they drop a bomb on the whole college. And I think because it's a group think, it sounds like it's a good idea. But when it's one person, it's like, whoa, this guy just can't go to the planet just killing everybody. I don't know. I'm not Team Thanos because he's a sociopath. I'm Team Thanos because he's a different type of villain, and his Josh Brolin did an incredible job. The writers did a great job. His dialogue was great. He wasn't cheesy. He was to me he was a lot like Bane. He was a lot like Bane from Batman. I don't want to say it was the same villain, but they kind of, for the most part, they had a lot of the same ideas and ideologies. But I don't know. I'm probably gonna see it again. I'm gonna watch it again on Thursday, and yeah, I'm gonna see it again. I'm not gonna sit here in front like I'm not gonna go see it again. That's pretty much all I want to say to you guys about it. I appreciate you listening to it. I'm gonna take a quick break. When I get back, I'm gonna go over this Walking Dead spoiler. But here's the thing about this movie: you should go see it. It's really long, but it doesn't seem like it's that long. Also, when you go see it, make sure you see it in a theater that has a super large screen. I'm not saying go see it in IMAX per se. I'm just saying if you go to a theater, make sure you ask them if it's one of the bigger rooms or the smaller rooms. Because some theaters, how do I say this? I didn't really notice this till last week, because a lot of times, more or less, when I go to the movies, the only, how do I say, CGI movies I usually watch are these movies. But other than that, I usually go to the movies to go see, I guess, like real movies that are basically heavy dialogue. I don't really notice, but this time I noticed because the screen was significantly smaller for a movie that I should be watching on, on the side of a mountain, basically. And just make sure when you buy your ticket, like, hey, is this a bigger theater or a smaller theater? Say, oh, well, this is a smaller one. The bigger one's available at 9. Just make sure you ask, because there's so much stuff going on, and Thanos is so huge that you're gonna want to see it on the biggest screen possible. That's all I have. When it comes to me rating this movie, if I have to give it, if we're doing this rating of about, I don't know, 1 to 5 stars, then I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna give it as soon as I take this break. After this break, I'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC SciFi Podcast with your favorite host, Ryan Holloway, presented on and by the GSMC Podcast Network to fulfill all of your podcasting needs. Now, as promised, I was going to tell you what I was going to rate this movie. And with all things considered, based on length, dialogue, CGI, ending, beginning, I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5. Collectively, the movie as a staff, record label, and the crew, I'm gonna give it a 5. Because I'm gonna stick to my analogy that of the things can be written in a way, or something can happen. We're like, okay, and then it ends, hooray, like that. It's like a good joke. It's like a good joke where you can say something to somebody and it sounds really good, but if you don't land, if the landing comes off incorrect, then it's wrong. Like when you text somebody something and you text and it's misspelled, and you're like, that was a great response, but I spelled it wrong, or the word is different. Have you ever written something to somebody and the word just didn't come out the way it was supposed to come out? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean by a good landing. That's what I mean when I say that. So with that, yeah, I'm gonna give it. I give it a 5. It was a great movie. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm probably gonna talk about it again next week because I'm gonna see something that I didn't notice, and so are you. Or I won't talk about it. I don't know. I'm not gonna waste your time. Either way, you guys know what happened in Walking Dead last night? Do you know? Man, well, here's the thing. Do I talk about this? Do I? I think I have to. I'm gonna tell you guys about this. This episode might go, you know what? Bonus footage for you guys today. Complete bonus footage. Here's the thing. Last night on Fear the Walking Dead, Nick died. Nick got shot by that girl I told you guys about that he abducted and like helped out. Not abducted, but the one they found and were helping and basically set them all up. I'm gonna go into this kind of deep. Basically, I told you guys last week that Nick and his group, Nick and Strand, they hijacked Morgan and his squad, Morgan and his new group. And basically the tables got turned. They crashed the truck into a hole and everybody got split up and Nick was hanging out with Morgan. Nick sees the people who are responsible for his old camp being destroyed. And Morgan's like, hey, Nick like leaves, just goes and tries to chase down a car basically. And Morgan's like, hey, leave it alone. Don't mess with it. Everything's fine. Like, don't mess with it. Don't kill this guy. Don't do it. And Nick ends up basically killing the guy. Nick sits on this porch in the back and he gets shot by that girl. Because what ends up happening is Nick finds like the area where this group, I guess called the Vultures, where they actually hang out, and he finds the guy and they get in a fight. And Nick basically, the guy slips and falls on some deer antlers. That sounds stupid, I know. And then he's trying to like basically just regroup on this back porch, and the girl shoots him in the chest. All the people come in, they like come around him, and Nick dies. What got me, what was pretty interesting was, I guess Fear the Walking Dead is so young in its age, and we're so used to deaths within the zombie universe that it didn't really affect me when he died. First of all, one, I didn't see it coming. I'm usually I want to say I'm pretty good at this stuff within the foreshadowing of things happening, because the way the episode was going with him talking to his mom a lot, there was like these little flashbacks, and I was like, that's interesting. But I just thought it was because he hadn't been out in a while. But turns out he died. And I wasn't in this, it really got me. And it's I don't want to say it's saddening, but it's kind of saddening because not him dying, but the way he died. Because it's not like a Carl death. Like when Carl got bit, we're like, no. In the show, we gotta write a petition. They have to just cancel this whole season, regroup. There was a billionaire guy that was like, I will pay whatever the production cost is to fix this because Carl cannot die. He cannot die. It didn't pan out. Carl dying. We had a whole tribute episode dedicated to Carl dying. That was basically the highlight of last season, was Carl dying, which was basically a hijacked highlight from last season. I see what you guys did there, Walking Dead. You guys out hustled us. But this time when Nick died, I was like, oh, okay. It even got to a point where, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. When they do this thing, when Nick and Morgan get split up and Nick sees this car and starts chasing it down, I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, really? Are you serious? I'm like, really, Nick? Like, in my mind, I'm like, people always have to go looking for him. And then I'm thinking like they're going to get split up and Madison have to find him. And it's going to be just this thing that I want to deal with. And also, we don't even know where Madison is at, because they're still doing this season with these flashbacks back and forth of 100 days prior to them basically like losing their land and then them being on the streets. We don't even know where Madison's at. Madison, for all we know, Madison could be dead too. We have no idea. there's this flashback back and forth between them being in the baseball arena and being the family, and like what's happening right now with them just being out and meeting Morgan's group. So I don't know where Madison is at right now, but when Nick ran off, I was annoyed. I was annoyed, you guys. I'm sorry. I was genuinely annoyed. Just like my problem with Nick running off, this is the difference. When Morgan just says, I don't want to deal with anybody, it's fine. Because Morgan's a grown up. For people who want to chase Morgan down, that's fine. You chase Morgan down all you want. That's fine. But when Nick like runs off, it's so annoying. You want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because he's got a mom, a girlfriend, and the older sister. Like, come on, bro. You know they're going to chase you. You know they're going to chase you. And they chase him, and then he gets shot. I really didn't see it coming. He's gargling blood and going away. And it was one of those times where it was one of those Walking Dead deaths where you know the person's not going to come back, because the way, I mean, maybe he's not, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I believe that the way they wrote all the foreshadowing, he's dead. And I'm going to say it so insensitively, but when he got shot in the chest, and he's laying there. They're like trying to like hold. They didn't pick him up to put him in a truck or anything like that, because there's nowhere to go. There's no hospitals or any ones that don't have zombies in them. He's just leaking blood, like leaking. It's coming out of his mouth, and they're all trying to like hold. They're like, hold on for what? What do you got? What's gonna happen? Like, hold on. What? Is there a doctor coming? I don't know. Maybe a doctor might come. We don't know. For the most part, I think Nick's dead. He got shot in the left side of his chest. I believe that's where your heart is at. I'm not a surgeon. And I don't even play one on TV, so I don't even know. But I think it's on the left side of your chest. I believe so. Actually, I'm 100% positive it's on the left side of your chest. I'm not going to say I think. It make me sound silly. So with that, yeah, on Fear the Walking Dead, Nick died basically trying to chase down a death, basically like trying to avenge a death that wasn't going to go. It was interesting how that happened, because it was I'm not gonna say it was prophecy, but Morgan's always like, don't kill people, don't kill people, don't kill people, and Morgan's trying to stop him from going in this shed and like fighting this guy, and the guy who he kills is really just nonchalant about it, like, hey, well, you should just go away, go fight, go do something else. I don't care what you do, just there's nothing here for you. And then Nick comes around the corner, goes in the shed, they start fighting, and he pushes him on the deer antlers. And then minutes later, Nick is dead. So it's weird how sometimes in life, when things aren't supposed to happen and you force them to happen anyway, I don't want to say you make your bed, but some things, when they're really hard to do, or when you're trying to do something that you shouldn't be doing, and it's really hard to do, you should just sit down. You just shouldn't do it. Morgan was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. When people tell you it's not worth it, it's genuinely not worth it. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time have you ever been in a situation where, actually, this happened to one of my friends just recently. He didn't want to go out, but his friend called him like, hey man, I have to go out. I need to vent. I have to go out. I need some time out. My friend's like, okay, I'm there for you. I'll go out. It's random. It's Wednesday night, but fine. I'll go out with you. I'll comfort you. I'll make sure everything's fine. Fast forward 5 hours into the night, they end up getting into a fight, and they both end up getting arrested. And it was a night when nobody should have been out. So you have to be careful with forcing yourself to do things that aren't supposed to be happening. Unless it's your goal, like Thanos. Thanos is like, I don't care what happens. I need all these stones. And the greater good is for him to delete half the people and then save resources. Nick's greater good was to basically kill this guy because he had to die. Also, we don't know like exactly what happened. We really don't even know, because we keep doing this flashback thing back and forth. So right now, I may not know what that guy did. Actually, not I may not. I don't. I genuinely don't, because the way Strand and Nick's sister are basically like holding these people like, hey, do you know who the vultures are? We have to find them because of what they did. I don't know if they just starved them out. Other things could have happened that we don't even know about yet. So, we'll find out eventually. So I can't, you know what? I'll take this back. I can't fault Nick. I really can't fault Nick, because I don't know why he's so mad at him. All I know is what happened last episode when the Vultures pull up in all their cars, like, hey, we're just going to starve you guys out and just wait for you to run out of food. We don't know what happened after that. They could have killed Madison. We don't know. We have no idea. So with that, Fear the Walking Dead is getting pretty interesting. And I'm not going to say I'm happy that Nick's dead, because that'd be wrong. I'm just going to say I'm happy that they're switching things up a little bit. Fear the Walking Dead seems like they don't really have any love for a lot of their characters, like for their day ones. And I appreciate that, because last season or the season before last, like they killed off the dad. The season before that, they killed off the dad's kid. So Madison, maybe we don't know. I think Madison's more like Rick, though. I think she's unbeatable. Who knows? There's also a lot of backstories that are supposed to be happening that we don't even know about still. Like Rosita's dad. There's that guy. So I don't Fear the Walking Dead has a bunch of other stuff going on, and they haven't revealed all of it. So I'm actually pretty excited about this season. Every time I turn on the episode, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. It's not like Walking Dead where I for the most part, I know. I think I know what's going to happen, and I know who the episode's going to be about. I know what direction we're going to go in. But Fear the Walking Dead right now, it's so new still. It's so random. I never know what they're going to be doing. So I'm happy with this episode. I'm happy with the season so far. At first, I was kind of skeptical until they explained Morgan's timeline to me, and now we're okay. So with that, I thank you for tuning in to listen to your favorite host on the GSMC SciFi Podcast, presented by the GSMC Podcast Network to fulfill all of your podcasting needs. If you haven't seen Avengers yet, then I'm sorry for spoiling it for you, but I haven't spoiled it because it's still a great movie. There's no spoiling it for you. I cannot do that. The movie is 2.5 hours long. There's no way that me talking about it for several minutes is going to affect your viewing experience. There's no way at all. So even though you appreciated my award-winning world-class review, I guarantee you that you can still watch it and you'll feel great about it. Thank you for tuning in. Live long, prosper, watch out for potholes.